Hello, and welcome to part 2 of our presentation, Obtaining Professional Registration through the SRP. Having watched part 1 and followed up the guidance on our website, you should now be ready to make your application. This part is intended to help you to complete the application form correctly and to have a successful application. Remember, all of the information is available on our website. But if you still have any queries, then just drop an email to the SRP office and they'll get someone from the Professional Standards Directorate to reply to your query. But now, on with the presentation. Part 2. Completing your application for obtaining professional registration through the SRP. The aim of this presentation is to go through the application forms and explain how to complete each section and to give advice on how to prepare a successful application, and secondly to outline the application and assessment process. All of the applications and guidance notes can be found on the SRP website. Go to the front page, which looks like this, and then go to the heading Professional Registration. This will take you to this page. Use the menu on the left to find all of the information which is in this and the previous presentation. When you are ready to proceed with your application, select Applying for Registration from the menu. This will take you to this page, where you will find information for each of the 3 titles. For each there is guidance, the application form and the supporters form, and then this is repeated for each. When you have read the guidance and decided which title is appropriate for you, you are ready to complete the application form. Before we start, here are some key points. Follow all the instructions and complete every section of the form as requested. Failure to do so may result in your application being returned and will delay the assessment. Take care with your grammar and spelling and make sure the information you provide is consistent across every form and on your CV. Assessors are not impressed by incomplete or badly completed forms. Be specific and give sufficient detail. Assessors often have to request further information because applicants generalise. Also, do make sure you highlight the radiation protection aspects of your work. Now, let's look at Section A of the form. It is the same for all forms. Section A covers your personal details. To begin with, you should put your surname and forenames and select your title from the drop-down menu. You can then move on to select your grade of membership, also from the drop-down menu. Complete your date of birth, your home address, and information on your current employer. Finally, you should select, again from a drop-down menu, your preferred address for communications. In this section, you must indicate which of the routes you are following. This will determine how much detail you need to give in subsequent sections. For TechRad-P, there are 2 possible routes. Choose the option appropriate for you by ticking the appropriate box. For IRAD-P, there are 3 possible routes. If you select option A, you should give details of your certificate or certificates. And for CRAD-P, again there are 3 possible routes. This time, give details of certificates if you select option B. The next section of the form, common in all the forms, covers academic qualifications and memberships. Section B1 covers academic qualifications. Please give details of all relevant qualifications, but do not include school qualifications. Where possible, you should attach a brief syllabus for your course. Remember, the assessors may not already have this information. In section B2, you are asked to give details of any memberships you hold of other professional bodies or learned societies. If there has been insufficient room in any other sections of Part B, or if you wish to add any additional information, then a box is available in Part B3. The next section, called Professional Development, Training, Project Work and/or Evidence of Competence, is only required for those following Route C for CRAD-P or IRAD-P and Route B for TechRAD-P. This section is intended for those without a formal qualification to demonstrate their competence by referring to training, professional development opportunities, or specific project work. You should write in the description box up to 1,000 words describing the training or project work you have completed and explain how this has gained you the claimed competence. Remember to include the name of the organisation where the work was undertaken and the dates when it started and was completed. Section C is headed Professional and Responsible Development. This section is common to all registrations. In this section, you are asked to describe the position you currently hold relevant to radiological protection. In the first part, give details of your current role. Please put the details on the form and do not simply refer out to a CV. You can continue on a separate sheet and are asked to include an organisational chart. The second part lists the 5 areas of competence. By referring to the guidance, highlight those aspects of your post which are relevant under each of the headings. In completing this section, be specific and give sufficient details. Assessors often have to request further information because applicants generalise. Also, make sure you highlight the radiation protection aspects of your work. Remember to focus on outcomes and be clear on what your contribution to an activity was and what you learned from it. Don't make the assessors work too hard or expect them to read between the lines. The ability to articulate your experience is part of the process. Be aware that assessors focus on both your technical and your leadership skills to see which level you're working at. Subsequent pages request similar information for each of your previous roles. You should give the most information on the most recent role and the least on your earlier roles. It's a good idea to ask for advice from colleagues who have been through the process already. Most of all, remember that you need to make the case as to why you should be awarded registered status. If you wish to include more roles than there are pages, then you may add additional sheets. Remember, detailed guidance on the areas of knowledge and experience which you should cover is available on the website. The headings are the same for each of the 3 titles, but the detailed requirements are slightly different. This is illustrated in the following slides, which are from the IRAD-P guidance. A. Application of radiation protection knowledge and understanding. B. Analysis and solution of radiation protection challenges. C. Personal responsibility. D. Interpersonal skills. And finally, E. Professional practice. In section D, you are asked to identify your supporters. You should choose your supporters carefully and follow the guidance. Make sure that you brief them on the process. Show them the guidance. They may not have acted in this capacity before. All applicants are required to identify 2 supporters. For TechRAD-P, both supporters should normally be technical, incorporated or chartered radiation protection professionals. For IRAD-P, both supporters should normally be incorporated or chartered radiation protection professionals, and for CRAD-P, both supporters should normally be chartered radiation protection professionals. Ideally, one supporter should be outside of your direct line management, and your supporters must not be related to you, including by marriage or partnership. Supporters must have known the applicant for at least a year and be able to verify the information given in the application. The assessors set considerable store by comments made by the supporters as to the applicant's suitability for registration, so choose your supporters carefully. You will be asked to give the name, professional registration status from a drop-down box, the professional relationship to you, and the contact details for your first supporter and then for your second supporter. It is important that you give a copy of your completed application form and the guidance to your supporters. They must then complete the supporters forum referring to your application and then return it to you. The final section of the forum is your declaration that if awarded registration, you will comply with the Society's Code of Conduct, you will observe all rules and regulations relating to the radiation protection profession, and that you will undertake continuing professional development necessary to ensure competence during your career. When you submit your application form, you must also pay an application fee by bank transfer. Details of how to make this transfer can be found on the SRP website and on the application form. The current fees can also be found on the website. Please note that an annual fee is also payable to remain on the register once your application has been approved. There is no annual fee to pay in the year that you are admitted to the register. We will now look at the supporters form. In parts 1 and 2 of the form, the same information is asked for as was provided in the application form. In part 1, the name of the applicant, and in part 2, details of the supporter. Part 3 is for the supporter to record their endorsement of your application. Firstly, they are asked to record how long they have known you and in what capacity. They are then asked to verify the information which you provided in section C of your application form. There is space for them to provide details in support. Finally, they are asked specifically to support your application. Again, there is space for them to write their support. It is important that this section is completed, since the assessors set considerable store by the supporters' comments. Again, a reminder that all application forms and importantly guidance notes can be found on the SRP website. And now some reminders before submitting your application. It is important that applicants and supporters carefully read the appropriate guidance and then carefully complete the relevant application form. You should copy your application to each supporter together with a supporter's form and ask them to return them to you. The completed application form and supporters forms, together with any additional relevant documents, should be emailed to admin@srpuk.org.uk with CRADP application or IRADP or TechRADP is appropriate in the email title. And finally, the application fee should be paid via bank transfer. Again, the details are there on the application form. The application assessment process is really very straightforward. When your email is received by the SRP office, your application and supporters forms, together with any other documents, will be sent to the 3 assessors who are going to assess your application against the criteria. If further information is required by the assessors, you will receive a request via the SRP office and no additional application fee will be due. In the unlikely event that your application is failed, then any new application will require a new application fee to be included. If your application has failed and you decide to reapply, you must make sure that you specifically address the assessor's feedback. We hope that you have found this presentation detailing the completion of an application for professional registration to be useful. Employers and clients today are seeking to ensure that those who they engage are recognised by their profession. Professional registrations offered through SRP demonstrate professionalism and commitment to the radiation protection profession. Before you go, here is a summary of our tips for a successful application.